I was sitting on the couch in a stretched-out t-shirt, staring at my phone. The last video my friend and I posted on our blog had 238 views. "We need to talk," Sandra said. Her voice sounded the way normal people sound at funerals. She was standing by the window, sadness on her face and a notebook in her hands. I understood everything right away. "I'm leaving," she said. I smiled. A forced smile. "Where are you going?" "To the store." I joked. "No, not to the store. I'm leaving our channel. I don't want to keep pursuing blogging anymore." "Why, Sandra?" I asked. "I just can't do it anymore," she replied. "It's just not working out. We put in so much time. Coming up with ideas, filming, editing, and it all amounts to nothing. I spend hours editing, staying up all night, barely sleeping, and I'm 25. I want a normal life, a real job, stability. You get it." I looked at her with disappointment. We used to be so close. We'd laugh late into the night, watch all kinds of movies with popcorn, and dream about filming while traveling. And now she's saying this. "So what? I'm not normal?" I asked quietly. "No, you're just different. You live for this, you're passionate, you never give up, but I'm just tired," Sandra replied. "Well, go to hell then. Get yourself an office job, find a husband, get a dog. Just don't pretend you'll actually have fun," I snapped sarcastically. "And what's so bad about that?" Sandra asked. "You know, that's a lot better than chasing views every day and barely scraping by. And by the way, we work way more than at a regular job. We work 7 days a week. Normal jobs aren't this demanding," my friend replied. And in her own way, she was right. But that didn't make me any less angry. Then we fell silent, and the quiet between us felt more unsettling than any flop on the channel. Sandra left. Not for good, at least not yet. Just to the kitchen, the bathroom somewhere. And I stayed in the room alone with my thoughts. How unpleasant! We dreamed together, made plans, and then she stabbed me in the back. That's when the idea came to me. Crazy, brilliant, a last resort. If this really is the end, then the finale should be loud. I went to Sandra. "I've got it all figured out," I said. My friend looked up at me, her eyes tired, as if I'd come not with an idea, but with a funeral wreath. "Sandra, just hear me out, okay? This is going to be a blast. Even if it's our last video, it should be like this." "What do you want to film?" she asked. "I'm not telling you. You'll just say no anyway. Just trust me. It's going to be really awesome." She was silent for a long time thinking and then said, "All right, but if there's anything I don't like, I'm backing out of the shoot." We set out that very night. I was on edge, trembling inside with anticipation. When the car stopped by the iron fence, Sandra tensed up. "What is this place?" she asked. I smirked. "A drug lord used to live here. An old house fancy with basements. They say there were murders, torture, all sorts of crazy stuff here. He was put away a long time ago, about 10 years back. But the house is still here, and we're going in." "Are you out of your mind?" Sandra protested. "I'm not going in there. This is insane. Sandra, nobody lives here. The cameras haven't worked in ages. Look, there's a gap in the gate over there. We can squeeze through. This is illegal. It's dangerous. Do you even hear yourself?" She was almost shouting. I could see her hands trembling. Her face had gone pale. "I'm telling you seriously. I'm not crawling into some psycho's lair just for your views. I want to go home. Can you, for once, just turn your brain off and stop overthinking? Just relax and feel the vibe. We're making content like we always have. And now we have a real shot to blow up." I tried to persuade her. "And for that, I have to break into someone else's house where people were killed and tortured. Some drug lord's place? No way, that's just too much." Sandra kept whining. "It's just a place, Sandra. Stones, walls, trash, and darkness. Nothing more. We'll just film a bit." "No, this is too much. This isn't a video. This is madness," my friend kept insisting. Then she said she had a headache and started crying. I walked over and took a pill out of my pocket. "Sandra, calm down. You have a headache. Take this, you'll feel better." She wiped her tears and, without looking, took the pill and swallowed it while I stood nearby. I stayed silent, just watched, because I knew. It wasn't a painkiller, just a mild happiness pill. Something to help her relax a bit, to ease the fear and anxiety a little. I stood with her for another 20 minutes or so, talking to her, calming her down, and watching as she gradually changed. Her breathing became more even. Suddenly, she smiled slowly. "You know, this could actually be fun." "Right?" Sandra asked. "Of course," I smiled back. "We'll just take a look. A couple of minutes, then we'll leave." We walked up to the gate. We squeezed through a narrow gap in the fence, one at a time. Only really skinny girls could fit through there. Luckily, we were just the right size. The house was gloomy and black, with bars on the windows and a door left slightly open. Sandra, though she had gotten braver, was still very cautious. But I was beaming. This was it, the moment. The best video of our lives was about to begin. The grass was almost knee-high, dry and prickly. We walked slowly. As we approached the house, the door creaked in the wind, but we both jumped. I immediately pulled out a pill and swallowed it. No need for fear. Yat now. It's just the wind, I said to calm my friend. Sandra stayed silent. We got even closer. The door was ajar, as if it had been waiting for us. We stepped inside carefully. Another sharp creak and bang. The door slammed shut behind us. I tried to shut the door because that sound was terrifying. This is insane. Sandra whispered. There's furniture here intact, everything in its place. Why didn't anyone take it? She looked frightened. I didn't get it either. Maybe we should start filming? I took out my phone. Wait, let's check the house first. What if someone is here? Sandra stopped me. There's no one here. Alright, let's take a look. I smirked but put my phone away. We walked slowly, trying not to make any noise. The room on the left was a spacious living room, expensive furniture, a leather sofa, a massive table. And suddenly I saw an ashtray overflowing with a cigarette next to it, extinguished but as if just recently. Are you sure we're alone here? Sandra whispered. Sandra, if someone lived here, it would be clean. The door would be closed, the yard well kept. These are just remnants of the past. She nodded uncertainly. We moved on. In the kitchen, there was an old smell of dampness, and in the cupboards, dishes and grains that were clearly expired. But in the corner, there was a bucket. Inside it, a few cans of preserves, not new but not spoiled either. Are these fresh? Sandra grew wary again. Sandra, even if someone was here, it was a long time ago. Believe me, if someone actually lived here, the food would be normal. This is just trash leftovers. She fell silent, but her gaze remained wary. I was the first to step onto the staircase leading to the second floor. The step creaked. The sound was loud and sharp, as if the house had woken up and realized we were here. I involuntarily flinched, but immediately turned to Sandra and smiled. It's all right. Just an old creaky staircase. Don't be afraid. I went up and she followed me. The stairs creaked under every step. At the top, we were met by a large living room, and the first thing we saw was a portrait. It hung above the fireplace. A man in a formal suit. There was something gloomy about him. Is that him? Sandra whispered. Yes, that's the Baron, the owner of this place. She couldn't take her eyes off him. With some people, you can tell right away. You can only expect something frightening from them. I nodded. He really is creepy to the bone. We stood there silently staring at the painting, and he stared back at us from the canvas. And suddenly, the room seemed a couple of degrees colder. We looked around the living room. Everything looked like it belonged in a museum. Old, expensive, dusty. On the glass coffee table lay a magazine, new, glossy, dated this year. Why is this here? Sandra whispered. Maybe someone came by at some point, but definitely not now, I replied, though I was honestly getting pretty tense myself. Sandra shook her head. We need to leave. Seriously? Let's get out of here. Sandra, if someone was here, they would have come out already. They definitely would have heard us. Please calm down. I tried to sound confident. And then a long creak. We froze. It came from downstairs, somewhere near the entrance. And then a sharp, heavy bang. The front door closed. Did you hear that? Sandra was staring at me, her eyes wide open in terror. Sandra, it was probably just a draft. That wasn't a draft. Do you hear that? Slow, muffled footsteps. Someone was walking across the floor down the hallway right inside the house. Sandra was panicking. We rushed to the closet. I ran to it, grabbed the handle, started to open it, and a loud creak echoed. I realized we couldn't go in there. The closet door opens very loudly. I jerked my hand back. My breathing was ragged. No, not there, I whispered. In the corner stood an old piano, black, with a broken leg. Let's get under it, I ordered. We slipped under the low frame. The dust stung my nose. Sandra was trembling. I tried not to breathe. Footsteps could be heard somewhere downstairs, but with each step they sounded closer. And there was no doubt anymore, we were not alone here. We sat under the piano, trying not to breathe. Sandra was trembling. A little more, and she would lose it. I could see it. "Here, take this," I whispered, handing her a pill. She took it without question. I swallowed mine too. We couldn't lose control, couldn't show fear. For a moment, the footsteps stopped. For a second, it was so quiet I could hear my heart pounding in my chest. And then the sound of the stairs, that same old creaking one. Someone was coming up slowly, taking their time. Sandra clung to my hand. I could feel her freeze with every step. And then a tall, sturdy figure entered the living room. He silently walked over to the windows and began closing the heavy dark curtains one by one. With each curtain drawn, the light faded bit by bit, and soon it was completely dark. It felt like we were in a horror movie. Any second now, he would come up to us, shine a flashlight in our faces, and that would be it. The best, a quick death. Click, and a candle flared up, lighting part of the room. The man walked over to the fireplace and lit a fire. The flames illuminated the room, shadows danced along the walls, and he stood there staring at his own portrait. It was him, the Baron. Alive. We sat under the piano for about 10 minutes. Silence. Only the fire crackled. The Baron stood by the fireplace, staring at his portrait. Maybe just a little to the side. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. The pill started to kick in. Everything became just a little bit off. My thoughts started to drift. And suddenly it seemed funny. He stood there silently, staring at the same spot on himself for several minutes. "Idiot," I whispered. Sandra looked at me in surprise, then almost choked, trying not to laugh. She covered her mouth with both hands. I was barely holding it in too. She gave me a look that said, "Please, no more jokes." I nodded, pressing my lips together. And yet, with every passing second, he seemed even dumber. It was hard to hold back my laughter, but suddenly there was a knock and a creak somewhere downstairs. That same familiar sound. That door, then footsteps. A lot of footsteps. We tensed up. It was no longer funny. 5 more men entered the room. Silent, sullen. One in blood. "This is a traitor," someone said. And the one covered in blood was thrown to the floor, right in front of the Baron. He raised his head and saw us. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but a shot rang out. Deaf short. The Baron didn't even blink. The head jerked and blood gushed out of it. Onto the floor, onto the carpet. Too much, too fast. Once again, we froze in terror like little mice. The pills that had just made us feel cheerful were now, for some reason, making us shake from the inside. It got worse than before. Much worse. And I couldn't understand where such a reaction came from. The Baron cast a look at the men, stern, piercing. "Good job. Now get out. I need to rest," he said curtly. A couple of minutes later, the door downstairs closed tightly behind them. From the sound, it was clear that it was the front door to the house. I felt a bit of relief in my heart, but it didn't last long. My hands were shaking. I suddenly felt terribly unwell. My mind was getting foggy, but I still managed to turn on the camera. The screen was shaking along with my fingers. I have to record this, I thought. I can just imagine how this will go viral. Meanwhile, Baron calmly picked up the body as if it were a sack of sand and carried it into the next room. He walked right past us, somehow not noticing us. We heard the door to that room quietly close. "But you said he was locked up," Sandra said. "Yeah, and even more than that. The article said he was killed in prison," I replied. "Obviously, it was all a lie." "He paid his way out, came back, and now he's here again," Sandra answered. I showed her the camera. "Now we have it on tape. If we get out, we'll be famous. Sandra, let's run now, while he's in the other room. Downstairs, quick, and out to the street. What if there's someone outside? I think they've already left. They all went together. We heard them, remember?" We were all set to run, but suddenly footsteps. Again, a housekeeper walked into the room. Gray-haired, wearing an apron, carrying a bucket and a rag. She set the bucket down on the floor and started cleaning in silence, her face sullen, as if she did this all the time. I was terrified, realizing that any moment now she might turn toward us. She cleaned the floor with her side to us, as if she knew we were there, but she didn't look. Minutes passed, and anyone else would have noticed us by now, but not her. She scrubbed the floor methodically, back and forth, back and forth. It was driving me crazy. I didn't know what to do. Sandra didn't seem to know either. We both froze like two dolls under the piano in this bad dream. My brain wasn't working. The pills had spread through my blood, muddling time. I didn't even have the willpower to move. Every minute felt like an hour. She walked around, cleaning the floors. We waited, thinking any second now, any second she would see us. But she didn't look. And suddenly, as if on purpose, after maybe 15 minutes, she abruptly bent down and stared right at us. Not by accident, but as if she had known we were there the whole time. She was just waiting for the right moment. My heart skipped a beat. I felt terror. Real sticky animal terror. "Who are you?" she shouted, harshly and loudly. There was fury in her voice. "Run!" I yelled, and we bolted, leaping down the stairs like maniacs, into the darkness toward the exit. We ran up to the front door. I yanked the handle, locked. From upstairs came the Baron's voice. "Who's there?" Then the housekeeper's scream. "Strangers! There are strangers in the house!" Fast, heavy footsteps followed. He was coming toward us, faster over there, into that room. I shouted. We rushed into the far room. I gasped to the window. It was open, but there were bars on it. "We can squeeze through," I said and climbed up. My body squeezed between the bars. "Faster!" Sandra shouted behind me. I got stuck between the bars. Sandra tried to push me through. She was doing it with her last bit of strength aggressively. But at that moment, he burst into the room. He didn't say a word, lunged at Sandra and punched her. She flew back like a rag doll and hit the wall. I screamed, trying to squeeze through with all my might. And I almost made it. I was already almost outside. Suddenly a sharp pain. A knife. He made it in time. I screamed in shock. Then I ran. I don't remember how, but I couldn't feel my legs. I made it to the fence and climbed over. I ran forward as fast as I could. How far? I don't know. Blood was running down my legs, my arms, onto the ground. I grabbed my phone. The whole screen was covered in bloody smears. "Police, I'm injured. Send help. Here are the coordinates." The world tilted, started to slide sideways. I woke up in a hospital room. My head was spinning. There was a heaviness in my chest. I looked around the room. I was alone. I wanted to reach my hand to my face and suddenly, click. A handcuff. My wrist was chained to the bed. "Is anyone here?" I shouted. A nurse came into the room. "Calm down. There's no need to strain yourself." "Why am I cuffed?" "They'll explain everything to you soon. Right now, the most important thing is rest." Soon a police officer arrived. A stern face, a folder in his hands. "Why am I wearing a handcuff? What's going on?" He didn't answer, just gave me a cold look. "Tell me in detail what happened." I laid everything out from start to finish. About the Baron, the house, the escape. He listened without any emotion. When I finished, he nodded. "All clear. So what's with the handcuff? What's going on? Take it off." "I don't understand. Where's Sandra?" He opened the folder. "Your friend. She's dead. You killed her." That's not true. What are you saying? Do you often use illegal substances?" he asked sternly. "No, never." He looked at me the way people look at trash by the side of the road. "See you in court." And he left. And I stayed behind, with a chill inside, a shiver running down my spine. When I pulled myself together, I still believed it was a mistake, that they'd find evidence, the Baron's witness cameras. But in court, they showed a recording from my phone. On the screen, it was just us. Me, Sandra, wandering around the house. Quietly, cautiously. Then panic screams. We're fighting, yelling at each other. She pushes me, I grab a knife. The Baron wasn't there. The housekeeper wasn't there. There was no one in those videos except us. "That's impossible," I whispered. "He was there, we saw him." The prosecutor just shrugged. "Your camera says otherwise. Not a single frame with anyone else. Both you and your friend were under the influence of a strong substance." I froze because I had taken those pills before. More than once, and nothing like this had ever happened. It just dulled the extra anxiety, helped me relax. But in that house, something amplified their effect. It distorted my perception, as if the very air was different. Through it, everything seemed foreign, dangerous. But none of this was discussed in court. They only care about the facts. The police searched the mansion, But they didn't see the staircase, didn't find that room, didn't even notice the portrait. It was as if we were in a different house or in a different layer of it. Premeditated trespassing, storage violation, assault, murder, the judge read out. For 8 years, I sat there as if in a dream. No one believes he existed or that maybe he's still there. In prison, I thought a lot about that night, about that house, about the Baron. I went over everything piece by piece again and again. I had taken those pills before just to breathe out, to escape the anxiety. But it had never gone this far. Something went wrong right there in that house. It was as if the very air was contaminated. I tried to find an explanation, read articles. The Baron really did die, in prison officially, a little over a year ago. Buried. But there was some other information too. On old forums, people wrote that he killed his loyal housekeeper, who helped him cover up evidence because she knew too much. And yet we saw her, heard her voice. She looked at us, screamed, followed us. How could that be? I kept coming to one conclusion. We encountered something that defied explanation. Something that shouldn't have been real, but was. When I got out, my life started to change. Strangely, for the better. My story went viral. I was invited to interviews, podcasts, TV shows. I told everything as it was, or as it seemed to me. Many listened, some believed, others didn't. And that's okay. Of course, there were those who got inspired. Bloggers, thrill seekers. They started sneaking into the Baron's mansion. Some did it for content, others just out of curiosity. And strange things happened to all of them. Some disappeared without a trace, others were found delirious, unable to explain what had happened to them. Some said they saw a man by the fireplace or an old woman with a rag. There's no explanation for this. Now I have everything I once dreamed of. Attention, popularity, and audience. I often think about Sandra, not with sentimentality, but with a heaviness that never goes away. Sandra wasn't just a friend, she was a part of me, the voice of reason I didn't listen to. I let her down, dragged her there, convinced her it would be fun. But it was a trap for her, for me. I don't know if Sandra died from the knife or from something we can't see in the video. But I suppose she'll never walk out of those doors again. I'm often haunted by the same dream. I wake up trembling, just like in the dream where I see us under the piano, with Sandra looking at me hopefully, waiting for me to say, "It's okay, we made it out." But at that moment I wake up, because even in a dream, lying to her is unbearable.